Oh my God. Fucking ratones eating my fucking money. Carlos, this is a stupid fucking problem to have. But it is a problem, nonetheless. Rat fuckers. Rat fuckers.
Ain't it funny how even the worst of heathens try to get righteous when they think the Lord is about to tap them on the shoulder? Listen, Esther, if I wasn't so sick, I would give you one of these across your ugly lips. Who you calling ugly, sucker? I'm calling you ugly. I could stick your face in some dough and make some gorilla cookies.
Well, the Democrats' way of running this country is to go tell us all how we ought to make sacrifices. God, they're great on that stuff. But they're all going to have us over the hill to the poorhouse. We ain't going to be able to drive over there because we ain't got no gas, so we're going to have to walk it.
Oh, the Reader's Digest says walking is very good for you.
Oh, ain't that lovely? The Reader's Digest can always put a little joy into poverty. Listen, my whole point is this whole thing with the energy and everything. This is all a conspiracy. You know that is a conspiracy there. Listen, for years, all our lives, they've been telling us to go out and buy stuff that use energy. All electrical stuff. They got electric toasters, electric ovens, electric stove, electric stereo, electric TV, electric race, electric hair blower, electric knives, electric every damn thing. Not to mention the cars. And now, after all the big corporations there make the billions and billions of dollars worth of profits, signals, wham, they're changed. And after telling us for years that we can't live without this junk, now they tell us that we gotta live without it. The country is going straight into the dumper.
Twitter user @Wayne A. Schneider asked, which of you is more like Jesus? Trump, let's start with you.
I love the Bible. I've read the whole book. I love the Bible. Great book. Incredible book. I love Corinthians. I love both of them. I think they're incredible. I love their leather. And I'll say this. I really do. I love it. And I'll say the Book of Job. Incredible book. Incredible book. It's Jobs is in the Bible. Jobs is in the Bible. If our president wasn't reading the Quran, maybe he'd know that. But here's the point. Very important. Very important. Jesus, most boring part of the book. Are you kidding me? He's a very boring guy. They should have chopped him up into pieces. They should have chopped him up. Why did they crucify him? He came back like Voltron. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I would be a way better Jesus. Way better Jesus. Way better Jesus.
All right. I will, based on the audience reaction, points to Mr. Trump on that. Senator Sanders?
Look, I'm not like Jesus at all. There's nothing in common. I'm far older than Jesus ever was. I don't know, maybe he would have run for, Emperor Rome or something if he'd lived as long as I did. But let me say this. I am not particularly religious. However, I do have a Holy Spirit-like effect on Vermonters and Vermont-like people. Wherever 2 or more Birkenstocks are gathered, I am in their midst.
All right, points now to Senator Sanders.
Something a burglar would not want to see when he breaks into a house. Rob.
Naked grandma!
Naked, huh? I don't want to see that either. I know you're right, okay? Nobody wants to see a naked grandma, but what are the chances of you breaking in the house and running up into your grandmama naked? Looking for a naked grandmama in the house, outside, in the woods, on the blanket.
Oh, you should be coming on pretty soon, dude. How much do you smoke?
This will be a little demonstration of that. Listen up. That was my skull. I'm so wasted.
closely, then I'll see right. Defy me once and I'll be out of sight. Don't look back and fly. I'll keep living life. It's the last day of my life. Don't make me stay and think I'll be nice. I'd rather fight and be the one despise. Hey, don't look back and fly. I'll keep living life. It's the last day of my life. Trying hard to pull me through the fearing that I slip away. Noticing you're left with nothing, nothing but a memory. Don't look back and fly. I'll keep living life. It's the last day of my life. Don't look back and fly. I'll keep living life. It's the last day of my life.
All right, kids, welcome to another exciting episode of My Mic Falling Off the Stand, the original Red Pill Show. You're kidding me. Today is what? Saturday, April 3rd, really? 2020. Stay. This show is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Please use at your own risk. This show is copyrighted by me and Freedom Revolution Network. No part of it can be reused, rebroadcasted in any way, shape, or form without our written consent, or you can just ask. Finally, the show is opinionated. That's why we do it. The host, especially me, callers 815-290-0912. People that are naughty in the chat room. Guests, whatever, are and always will be opinionated. Under no circumstances whatsoever should opinions be taken as advice. If you are seeking professional advice, we strongly encourage you to hire a licensed, if required, person in his or her field there. Little Tommy, no soundboard. The battery's dead. And I don't really care if people like it or not. I'm going to use it, and it's sitting right there, and it's got to be charged because I like my little drop-ins, but I'm going to use them sparingly in the future. And I usually only use them when I do my intro. Sorry, I'm eating an orange. And I swear. And swearing is going to be minimized here as much as possible. So anyway, what is going on? I know she sounds just like Amy Lee. That's Maya Schoening. And I was the lead singer from Forever Still. And I was listening to her. She's on YouTube. She has albums out. They're from Denmark. She's all over Spotify, YouTube.
iTunes, and I was listening very intensely to her and some of her other material. And yeah, she sounds very much like Amy Lee. She doesn't sound exactly like her, but definitely sounds a lot like her. But she has a multifaceted voice, and she can sing basically whoever she wants to. But she definitely sounds like Amy Lee. And I encourage you to check her out in her band Forever Still, because great voice, undiscovered band. And I've been a fan for, I don't know, 7-8 years probably. Still waiting for her to make it to the States and get over here and start kicking some ass. So, yeah, well, not to mention she's beautiful and all that other crap too. So, I mean, she's got the whole package. So, see, who's punking me already? I don't really care. Who's ramming? I don't know, but anyway, we got people in the chat room. Pamela's in there. TLO's in there. I'll go to the Podbean Live. Nobody's in there yet. And on the Spreaker chat room, I don't think anybody's there either. No. So that's okay. All right, so it's been a while, at least a week. Last time I came on here. I have a lot of things going on and plenty of excuses not to be on here. But I want to make some more reasons to come on here. One of which I saw, I don't know if this is a surprise, but I think Scarlett's coming back on tonight. She hasn't already. I'm not sure. Tonight on, what the hell's the name of her show? Clarity at Midnight. Clarity After Dark, whatever the hell it is. She'll be on tonight. I think TLO's are co-host. If I'm spoiling something, I apologize. But yeah, she told me she was going to get back on here, and apparently she is. So that's good news. That's awesome. Love Scarlett. I have no idea of... Oh, okay. Are you punking me, though? You're not punking me. You were serious, right? I don't want to be punked. I don't think that's it. But that's okay. Yeah, I love Scarlett, and I don't know what she's going to be talking about. Kind of have an idea. Maybe, huh? Are you fucking with me? Are you fucking with me? I don't need to be fucked with. I've been fucked with enough. So, little personal stuff. So, I finally had dinner with my friend. Well, mildly teased. That could be fun. Does it include sex toys with batteries? So I met my friend that I've known my entire life, pretty much, at least her entire life, who has been diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. And I got together for dinner, had the whole social distancing bullshit and the mask and all that crap. And we sat outside and had a very interesting conversation. I have not seen her in 5 years. Diagnosed 2 years ago. And quite honestly, and I've never seen such a strong person in my life, and she would have no problem me saying this. Guys, I got to tell you, 90% of what we deal with is mental. And she should be dead. And she's even said that, and she said it. And the doctors have even said, well, you're either in serious denial with this, or you're right on target and you're handling it wonderful. And she is handling it wonderful. I mean, her attitude is like, oh, I broke my finger, or, just some really stupid, mundane daily stuff. And she's been diagnosed with terminal breast cancer, and she's doing great. She's doing great. I had a great time with her. Her and her dad and her stepmom. We had dinner. We had pizza. Then her dad and mom went out to church to sing in the choir, and her and I caught up. Split a bottle of wine. It was phenomenal. It was amazing. I can't believe the strength of this woman, it's just amazing. If I was diagnosed with that, I mean, I don't even know, but I definitely know there would be a denial stage. There's no question about it. And she's younger than me. She just turned 51. And I am 100% convinced that if you think something's going to kick your ass and you're going to die, you're going to get your ass kicked and you're going to die. I've just seen it. I've seen it. And I firmly believe with the challenges in my life, it's been a mental one leg up on things. Whatever you think is going to happen is going to happen. That's just the way the universe works without getting too corny. So speaking of corny, welcome to this show. People that don't know what it's about, it's called the Original Red Pill Show for a reason, and it's pretty much to think out of the box. It's not your typical show where I'm going to come on here, give my opinion, and tell you what I think you should do, or call somebody names or pick sides or anything of that type. This is pretty much everyday or in your lifetime experiences and thinking about them from an out of the box perspective to figure out how to deal with and overcome life's challenges. Period. I don't want you to agree with me. I don't want you to disagree with me. I want you to think. I want you to think. So here is the reason why I came on today. That's awesome, TLO. I've been doing a lot of outside the box thinking. There you go. Put user in a timeout. No, I don't want to do that. You've been naughty. You're going in the naughty corner, and it's a timeout. How does that work anyway? I've never done that, and I won't. Unless somebody really gets out of control and you deserve a spanking, I will put you in the corner until you can behave and play nice. I'm all for second opinions or contrarian opinions or whatever, or anything of the kind. It doesn't matter to me. You know what? I probably should open up the phone line in case somebody wants to call in. So with all of that out of the way, for a little bit of what this show's about, which is nowhere near enough done, in my opinion. Doing this more. Some people might like that I'm not hardly doing it at all, and I don't really care. 815-290-0912. There you go with that. Boy, this computer is acting very slow. 815 some error 29002. That. There you go. Then let's go to the Spreaker. And then I'm going to get into this. I don't know how long I'm going to be. This was going to be a quickie. Sometimes you're having so much fun, you don't want it to stop. So it doesn't turn out to be a quickie. Right? Or sometimes it's like, just get it over with. Are you done yet? Mm-hmm. Okay, 815. Nope. 290-0912. There's the call-in number for that one. And then I will put it in the StreamYard chat room. And there we go. 815-290-0912. Okay. So I've had a lot of conversations. Some of which I will, and of course I will not share. Anonymity is always my first priority. Plus, I've been listening and watching what's been going on. I have 2 messages. Okay, I don't know who the fuck that is. Oh, they can wait. It's probably, we'd like to sell you a used car warranty. Oh my God, I've never gotten so many bullshit phone calls living in a state in my life. Florida takes the cake on that one. But I've been paying attention, believe it or not. Although I have ADD and I went to U46 schools back in Illinois. It's amazing I can even function. But I don't like what's going on at all. And instead of getting into politics and blaming and race and hate, I predicted a lot. Oh, you know what? Somebody said to me, I don't even know if I should say this, but I'm just going to say it. Somebody said to me, some people think I'm a narcissist. I'm like, really? Well, number one, I'm really not going to give it any energy, although I am now. I just dismissed it because I know it not to be true. A narcissist doesn't give a flying fuck about anybody or anything and has no emotions. And they're always right. I would dare say, with exception to in some rules, that our former president was a narcissist, although I do like him. But I'm not that. I know how I stand and feel in certain situations, but it's not my way or the highway. And I'm not trying to manipulate people to get them to do what I want them to do or control them. But I just find that people's perceptions of someone can be so off base, it's not even funny. If you think I'm a narcissist, you're not listening. That I can tell you without a doubt. Actually, if I was a narcissist, I wouldn't be doing this. I would be above this. I don't really care what you think. Why do I care? I know what I think, and it's all that matters. But besides that, and I said, you know what the problem is? And I've tried to figure it out. The problem is with it, when you go through drug rehab, AA meetings, CA meetings, all these meetings. I don't know if anybody's ever been in a support group, but this is how it works. Everybody takes their turn, introduces themselves, and they talk. And you can't interrupt and you have to listen. It's quite honestly where I got a lot of my communication skills. And you have to let people talk. And when people talk, they share their story. And after they're done, you go, thank you, Tim. And you move on to the next person. And the process repeats itself. But you're not allowed to direct or opinionate or judge or whatever on what the other person just said, sharing their story. It's their story. But what you can do is you can relate to them and say, yeah, that happened to me too, and this is what happened, and blah, 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 blah. So I kind of think maybe that's where the narcissistic opinion comes from, because I, quote unquote, make it about me, but I'm not making it about me. I'm sharing what has happened to me based on what I've heard and what I've seen. I'm not definitely making it about you, but I am definitely not making it about me. So I kind of think maybe we're that wrongly accused or assumption of their perception may think I'm a narcissist. I can't tell you how far off the mark you are, but that's fine. Think what you want. I could really care less. But with everything going on, in years ago, after the 2008 meltdown, first it was the income inequality war. Of how come I can't make what you make and blah, 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 and with the bailouts and all the buddies and the bankers and the elites got bailed out by the government and us peasants got fucked. Most of us probably lost half of what we had, not to mention houses and maybe even your family or whatever. Hey, Casimira, how you doing? Ooh, I'll be careful with the 4-letter words because you're at work. But in 2008, the income war, or things not being fair, was a result of the 2008 meltdown. And in some cases, it was justified. Then what was coming, and I predicted it, was the race war, which is definitely going on right now. If you don't think it is, then you're asleep. There's nothing I can do to wake you up. What will happen after this, and I haven't heard this, and I said this way back in 2008, the next shoe to drop is going to be the holy war, because this all is going to get transferred into, and ironically, this is Easter weekend, by the way, it's going to get channeled all into a race war on a not race war, I apologize, a holy war based on what's right, what's wrong, ethically, morally, through religious beliefs. That's the next one. I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to happen. But when people are looking for answers and they are desperate, or they want to find people that think along the same lines as they do or believe in what they believe in, they fall into religion. And that's going to slowly and then quite possibly exponentially happen. When? I don't know. But that's going to be the end of all wars. That's going to be, if you don't renounce your faith and join us, you're dead. If you don't believe me, read the book, The Islamic Antichrist. And I am not picking on any certain type of religion. I'm just telling you, read that book, because if you do not renounce your faith, you will be dead. Yeah, I know. TL, there's all, yeah, gender war has been waged as well. Yeah, but although it's not the same, that's a war of inequality, in my opinion. That your sexual preference, your gender, the color of your skin, I clump all that into the quote unquote race war, although it's not. But when we go into the depths of hell, into the holy war, it's life and death. It's not about calling people names and hating people and white supremacy and all this other crap. It's going to be you join us or you die. That's just the way it's going to be. So I'm not saying every religion is going to say that. I'm just saying that's going to be the end of all of this crap. Yeah, you're right, Pamela. It is happening in a subtle way. That's what I'm saying. I'm starting to see it little by little. In certain religious groups, regardless of who they are, being persecuted or pointed out. And that's just going to cause more problems, like this whole race war thing. It's going to be transferred and escalate into a holy war. And I hope I am wrong. I hope all this shit goes away and everybody wakes up and gets some common sense and quits blaming people. This is ironic. So the city of Evanston, Illinois, which I've been to a million times. I am from Illinois, born and raised not too far from there. And they're giving reparations to American Africans that, I don't know the full details, that have lived or live in the town of Evanston in a certain year until now, and they're paying them, I don't know, they're paying them money. And I read that and like, well, number one, who in the hell wants to live in Evanston, let alone get money from your local government for something that happened in a different generation, and you're making your town, I mean, I don't know how they're going to do this. You're going to have a reparation tax on your property tax bill now, or I mean, I don't even know how they're going to do this, where you're getting paid for what some other assholes did to somebody in your family, in your lineage. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Now I'm going to state for the record, I don't know what percentage I am. And I heard this last night because I fell asleep listening to Alex Jones. And I've always wanted to find out my ancestry. But I don't want anybody having my DNA. And I have a retired law enforcement friend that he said the exact same thing I did. And I didn't say it first, but what I just said, he repeated. if someone has your DNA, they have your fingerprints. So if they don't like you, while he was here, his DNA's here. No, my DNA was there, not me. Fingerprints, that's a little bit more solid evidence, but your DNA, hair strand, blood, whatever you send to these people to check your genealogy or whatever you want to call it, to find out who you are, and these people have it. No, you're not having my fingerprints. I'm sorry. I'm not just going to give them to you and you can take them and plant them wherever you want. That would be very stupid. But I was told by my real dad that I'm very much so Native American Indian. And I'm tired of this stuff. If anybody got screwed in the history of this country, it's Native American Indians. Case closed. Done. But I don't want a dime from the government. And that whole thing to me is just buying votes anyway. But that's how I think of it. That's how people have been oppressed and manipulated for them to join a certain political party because they think they really give a rat's ass about them. I was going to do a show today called The Inequity of Equity. And that's pretty much just based on how come you can have, now see this, oh, you're racist and white supremacist. No, I'm not. Most things in life, if you have equity in them, you get something back, i.e. 30 years of paying a mortgage, 30 years of being married, 30 years of being in the same job, 30, 40, 50 years of having the same friends. There's equity in there. But to me, it appears to be that if you have any equity in this country, in living here and being a productive member, an American citizen of society, you're penalized. Because somebody can just stroll in here. I'm not going to get into this too much. Oh, just come on in here. We'll take care of you. Well, wait a minute. What about the vets that are fighting for our constitutional rights and they're all fucked up and got PTSD and they can't find a job and a place to live? They're living in the streets. I don't care if you agree with war or not. These people took an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States. And a lot of them got into the military because they were lost souls and they didn't know what to do, or they were very patriotic and they wanted to serve their country. I don't know what the reason is, but the point is, it doesn't matter. When you come back here, you're treated like you have a scarlet letter on your chest and it's your problem. But you can just stroll right in here and not have one day of equity in this country by being productive or paying taxes or whatever, and you get put up in, how much are these hotels? $200 a night or something? $86 million just to stroll in here, and then you get a card and they give you a debit card with money on it, I don't know how much, and a plane ticket to Sanctuary City, and don't worry, we'll take care of everything for you. Which is very analogous to the Native American Indians with peace treaties, and don't worry, we'll take care of you. And they ended up betraying them and took their land. And then with minorities, and specifically mostly Native American Indian or African Americans, black people, shove them into projects and tell them to shut up. And just keep popping more kids out, and you can't have a male living with you. And if you don't have a daddy, we'll give you even more money. And then these kids get raised in that environment and they have no future. But don't worry, we'll just send you your money every week and every month and pay your rent, and you'll be fine as long as you vote for us. That's oppression. That is a horrible way to treat a human being. And I firmly believe, in my opinion and what I see, that's why the people that have equity in this country, regardless of their color or religion, and veterans know better because they know they're getting smoke blown up their ass by the fucking government. And they're not going to listen to their bullshit anymore. And now it's a big race war because you have some law enforcement people that are abusing their power and using lethal force when somebody's detained and they kill them. And that shouldn't be happening either. So I could go on and on and on and on. And I could be like a regular podcast, live show, and say this and say that. I can get into COVID-19. I can get into vaccinations. I can get into shutdowns. I can get into the same redundant thing. And besides making you think to find answers in the truth, I really don't see a purpose in it. Blaming isn't going to do anything. Pointing fingers isn't going to do anything. Getting your own house in order and being a good human is going to do something. But I have a question before I just delve into this or whatever. I have a question and I want it answered in the chat room. No prizes, no nothing. I just want you to answer this question because it made me think out of the box. What is the one... I got to watch how I phrase this. What is the one way, process, or default system or safety net that no matter what happens, and here's a hint, us peasants can rely and depend on this, here's a really big hint, document. Oh, that's another horseshit thing too. They make sure the father isn't there for interaction, probably, or incarceration. Yeah. Yeah, so AOC was saying the border crisis, well, she didn't say that because they say it's not a crisis, is different than it was before, and babies weren't ripped out of their parents' arms. Now, regardless if that's true or not, let's just pretend that it is. Any person that breaks the law and gets ripped away from their family, or has their kids ripped away from their family because they broke the law, that's just the way it is. So until the laws change or new systems created that's much more fair and not politically charged, that's the way it is. So the answer to that question is don't break the law. And don't bring your kids with you. So if you're going to go rob a bank, number one, I wouldn't suggest it. And number two, I sure as fuck wouldn't put my kids in the car. But that's just me. Oh, you're mean, you're insensitive. This is a human rights. No. I mean, it depends on how you look at it. But to me, it's like, if you don't want to get in trouble and separate your family, don't break the law. Or to people that have power, and it's we the people, by the people, for the people, change the immigration laws, period. But they won't, because it's a political weapon to get people to vote for them. And it's very sad. Very sad. So I can't change that. But what I was thinking more and more, and we could do all these shows, we can talk about this, we can have topics, but the one thing by default, no matter what, that you always have in your corner is the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Now, I am going to 100% freely admit, I don't know. I know the First Amendment, the Second Amendment. I don't know the Third. I know the Fourth, the Fifth. And I'm going to honestly say I don't know the rest. Yeah, your Bill of Rights. Your Bill of Rights, anywhere from being pulled over by an officer, by saying that there's lockdowns, to see this is the only foundation or go-to protection and defense that you have against pretty much everything that's going on. Somebody said something along the lines about, don't hold me to this, I could look it up on Twitter. Somebody said something that if you're a person of color and blah, 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 you can come and get a free vaccination. And what it was saying is that if you're white, you can't. Now, from what I saw, according to the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the government cannot decide who gets money and who doesn't based on the color of their skin. And that's exactly right. And Twitter's all lit up with just wait till Monday, and all these violation of civil rights lawsuits are going to come flying at these people for saying that. And there you go. There's your Bill of Rights and the Constitution defending you against actions like that. But I honestly don't know, and I want to know. So what I'm going to do is do my own homework, and we're going to take, and believe me, every time this gets focused on or discussed, it's boring as hell. And hopefully you know me by now that I don't make things boring. But I want to break this down, see certain situations, blah, blah, blah. Maybe even get a constitutional expert or attorney on here to interview, and maybe go through each amendment, Bill of Rights, one at a time. Because the supreme law of the land is the Constitution. And it even says any laws that are made by the federal government or the state, and I'm paraphrasing, if they are unconstitutional, they are null and void, period. And for people that don't know, the Magna Carta was created and implemented like in 15 or 1600 or thereabouts over in Europe, and it gave peasants the right to own land, and they have some rights and stand up to the lords and the king and the queen and whatever people of power over in that country. And the Magna Carta was the foundation of our Constitution. But I'm getting tired. Oh, it's an outdated document. No, it's not. There's always reasons to circumvent it or go around it, but it's crystal clear that if it's unconstitutional, it's null and void, period. Who is this? AOC? She actually said, there you go. Said, I'm paraphrasing. It's not a surge, that it's militaristic speak, because they aren't insurgents, associating the word surge with some support or supposed vilification of those people. I don't really know what the hell it is. I don't know. I find it hard to believe they're all looking for asylum. I just think they're trying to get out of a country that sucks. And I don't blame them. That everybody wants to come to America. And I don't blame them. There's just people out there phrasing it in a military context because they're coming across our border and crossing it illegally, and they're not welcome. So therefore we're being invaded. I don't agree with that side of it, but that's how it's being spun, just like it's being spun on the other side, that you're inhumane and how could you do this to people and blah, 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 blah. It's not about any of that. It's about the way that the laws are written for immigration. They're ridiculous and they won't change them. Change them. Yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess. I just don't think people should be able to come in here. None of them are getting tested for COVID-19, and we can't even go outside our door without the mask police arresting us. It's just all a big it's all a big clusterfuck. And I don't want to focus on this too much. So I do firmly believe, though, no matter what situation, what year it is, who's involved, what color you are, anything else, the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, of course, you have to be a citizen to have Bill of Rights. It's a whole nother thing. Because you're an American citizen, just the way it is. I can't drive a car without a driver's license. You shouldn't get rights without being a citizen of the United States. That's just my belief. That makes perfect sense. There's a way to clear this up and make it go away, but nobody wants to because it's a tool being used politically. I have no doubt in my mind. But our default, our right is the Bill of Rights. And I want to know everything I need to know. And it dumbfounds me with the indoctrination that we've had through grade school and junior high and high school. You would think it would be mandatory that you know every Bill of Right and pretty much how it's applied and blah, 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 blah. And you should know these things till the day you die. But you don't. I don't. I had the Constitution test in 8th grade. I don't remember a damn thing. I've learned more from Schoolhouse Rock about the Constitution than I did from my teachers in 12 years of school plus college. What the hell does that say? Well, that'd be interesting. I didn't know that. Maybe Scarlett's brought this up and we've done it in the past. We've done it once. We should have a roundtable host of Freedom Revolution Network show on this very thing. I don't really care. Right. Yeah, I know, TLO. I'm not gonna argue. You're right. I ain't gonna argue about that. And I know we're not arguing. We're discussing. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, not the fact that the places they are held are way over capacity due to a surge of people. Right. Surge of people. Yeah. Influx. I don't know. Whatever you want to call it. Just a play on words, and I don't like surge is, yeah, more of a. You're right. I never even thought of that. It's more of a military term. And it's ridiculous. You're talking about people that want to improve their life and get away from a horrible place that they live. And I get all that. I do. It's just the way it's being done. These poor people are being taken advantage of and they don't even realize it. So there's got to be some type of law and order and no chaos when people want to come to this country and follow the rules. I mean, hell, I've been to South Korea. I just couldn't run over there. And I can promise you in the DMZ zone, if you crossed the border from South Korea to North Korea, you would be shot. I saw that. There is armed guards all the way up and down there. Actually, there's armed guards on both sides of that DMZ zone. South Korea soldiers and North Korean soldiers. And if anybody crosses that border, they are shot on sight. And if you're not, or you don't die, you go to prison with hard labor and break rocks apart for the rest of your life. That's not what I'm saying we should do, but I'm just saying there's got to be some type of fair and reasonable process to assimilate people into this country. And if you don't, you're a racist white asshole. It's like, okay. I could go on and on. I don't want to. What I do want to go on with is the Bill of Rights. To fall back on that. Everybody is spending too much energy trying to convince the person that doesn't agree with them to have it their way, and shame on you and make you feel guilty for who you are. Whether you're gay, transgender, white, black, purple, Asian, now all the Asian hate crimes. These poor innocent people have absolutely nothing to do with, I mean, why are they doing that? Is it because they're pissed at China for the Wuhan lab for COVID-19 coming here? Is that why they're attacking and targeting Asian Americans? I don't know. I mean, that's the only thing I can see that would make, if there's even any sense to be made out of it, or logical thinking. I mean, that's ridiculous. That happened to these people right after Pearl Harbor, and they were all thrown in internment camps because nobody trusted them, because they're all a bunch of Japs and they're going to fucking bomb shit because the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor and they have nothing to do with it. Nothing. It's very sad, and it has to stop. And again, like I said, the way that stops is through the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And if it has to go to the Supreme Court, then it goes to the Supreme Court. But one thing that I do know, and this is used to divide us, is the Constitution and the Bill of Rights should unite us. And it's being twisted and used that it's outdated, it's this, it's that. And it's quite the contrary. It's all that we have is the power of the people and the Bill of Rights. And I've already done my homework a little bit on this. And Thomas Jefferson demanded, besides the Constitution, he was the only one, besides the Constitution, which all the founding fathers said, the Constitution will be enough. Thomas Jefferson was like, it's just a document. It's a piece of paper. It really is not enough. There has to be an inalienable Bill of Rights for people, because the Constitution can be fucked with, which it is being fucked with, and it has been, because it puts the power to the people, and people that have power don't like that. They never have since the sun came up. This first day on the planet, people want power and they want to retain it. And if there's a document that gives just as much or the same power to the people, we can't have that. No way. So he insisted, and was the only one that I knew of out of all the founding fathers that insisted, and he fought like hell to get it in there, and it got in there. Thank God. But I think, for me, the most important document or any information that I can have as keeping my freedom and my liberties and doing the right thing and keeping the government under control is to know my rights. Because if you don't, how do you know, number one, they're being violated, and number two, what you can and cannot do? Yeah, here, you guys are still talking about immigration. That's fine. It's all, it all runs together, so I'm not complaining. European countries as well have immigration policies. They just are more strict than people realize. I know going to Canada is a bitch. You got to prove you have a degree and all this kind of crap and everything else. And then they put you on, they used to, because I looked into it. They'll put you on some type of timeline to make sure you are who you say you are and are a productive member of society before they'll give you citizenship. So, I mean, that's fair and reasonable, I guess. I mean, you don't want a bunch of losers coming in and sucking off the system and collecting a check just because you vote for whoever. That's not right. So there's definitely an abuse of power going on. There's no question about it, and some moral hazard. But it's got to stop. And like I said, you can call people out, call them names, this, that, everything else. This is not going to work. It's not working. It's dividing us. It needs to fall back onto the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. So that's what I'm going to start focusing on. I would love to get a roundtable discussion on it. I would love to get people in to talk about it. If that don't happen, that's fine. I'm already reaching out on Twitter to find somebody. And just take these suckers one by one. And I know it's going to be, well, it's open for interpretation. No, I want to read it for exactly what it says. Not what I think it means, not what anybody else thinks it means. I really don't care to a point what the Supreme Court's ruled on, which they always default to the Constitution. I just want to read it as for what it is and think about what they're really trying to say without getting lawyers involved and using the Constitution as an offensive weapon to manipulate or change the power of the people to what these people want it to be. Because they do it all too conveniently. Well, the Constitution says, well, yeah, but come on. I mean, really? You're going to take it to that extreme? It's all being used against us right now. And it shouldn't be that way. It should be uniting us. And I'm just going to plea with you people. I really think after doing this for so many years and it's just finally come to this, like I said, I could say whatever I got to say. Do you have the right not to get the vaccination? If they pass a law, is it unconstitutional to get a vaccination? Or do this or do that? I don't know. But I want to know. Because in a lot of cases, if you give consent, then you've just waived your rights. I don't understand that. How can you waive your rights when your rights are inalienable? Your rights should be just like your brain or your heart or whatever. Well, if this happens, you can surrender your brain. What? Or if you agree to this or consent, we get your heart. That makes no sense. You need that to survive. Why in God's name would anybody relinquish or someone have the power to rip your rights away? That just totally dumbfounds me. Yeah, well, that's a good point. Well, that's the real issue, Tim. Most won't accept the Constitution. Well, they don't have a choice, but okay, let's just say that. Most won't accept the Constitution because it was drafted in an era of slavery. And need I say, I don't want to take your point away, I want to add to it. When there was Christian beliefs. So we might as well throw religion in here too. See, there's the race thing and then the religion thing coming, which is almost exactly what you're saying. Yeah, I really don't know what the hell I'm saying. Like I said, there's no script here. I don't have an agenda. All I'm saying is that I don't give a flying fuck what color you are, what you believe in, what you don't believe in, anything of the kind, how much money you make, how much money you don't make, what your ancestry background is, where you came from. I don't care about any of that stuff. What I do care is that we all have a God-given individual rights and freedoms from our founding fathers that have inalienable rights. Unfortunately, and this just really, I can see how people think this. I really can. that a bunch of European white people, I guess have to say what it is. I mean, I wasn't there, but I mean, most of the founding fathers were all, if not all, were white, correct? I don't know what their lineage is in their family tree and their background. I mean, you can't be all white. I mean, I guess you could, but there's got to be something there that goes back. But let's just say that's what it is. You got all these white people making all these rules for all these people with good intentions and purposes, centered around by God-fearing people. But for some reason, unless you're black and you're considered beneath them and you're a slave, which are property of people that can afford a slave. Not all slave owners were white. Again, I wasn't there. But yeah, I mean, that just really pokes a big hole in a bunch of people really saying they give a flying fuck about the average commoner. That definitely blows a lot of holes into that. There is no doubt. There's no doubt. I will not argue that. I don't know what those people were thinking. I don't care what normalized complacency was. I don't care what the culture was. You don't treat people like that. Period. And to our defense, we changed that. And I'm pretty sure, not 100% positive, this is where I want to do my homework, that the Civil Rights Act of 1964 fixed that problem. Which is really scary because it took that long, and I was born in 1964, so 57 years only? That's not even one generation of people to give people of color the same rights as the rest of us. That's awful. That's horrible. That is so shameful and unacceptable. But I can't fix that. I can only stand for what I believe in, and we're all the same color on the inside, and we all should have the same rights, and we do have the same rights. But I firmly believe that people are being manipulated, and with racism going on and all these accusations and everything else, it's just tearing us apart. I would like to use an analogy that some people won't agree with, but why is it so important now that electric cars are the shit? Why is Biden demanding and saying that by 2030 or thereabouts, by facts ain't going to be exactly right. It's the whole purpose of it, the point that after 2030, there's going to be no fossil fueling burning cars or whatever. Why is that such a big deal now? Why did it take, what is this, 2021? Right around 100 years or possibly more, and you can do your homework on this one, when Nikola Tesla already invented a wireless electric car that nobody wanted to touch or anything to do with. I'll tell you why. Because all the industrial assholes like JP Morgan and all the oil companies and the auto manufacturers, to a point, wanted to make their money. And they didn't want to give out free electricity, especially wirelessly, to electrify the planet because they don't like the word free, which it wouldn't have been free. It's ridiculous. All you would have to do is license. You'd have to have a licensing fee and a license or whatever that would mean to use a gizmo built by Nikola Tesla, thanks to JP Morgan, that you'd have to pay a licensing fee for this gizmo to use energy to receive it. I mean, it's really not that difficult to figure out. I'm not saying it's right, but there you go. So how come it wasn't of importance, just like civil rights and slavery? How come electric cars weren't a priority back in 1920, 30, 40, 1950, 60, 1970, 1980, 1990, 2000, and let's just go to 2021. Why is it now a big fucking deal? It's a time that should have happened and came a long time ago. You mean to tell me, all right, number one, the founding fathers and people that treated human beings like that in slavery, didn't they have a clue or even think that they were doing something wrong? Are you serious? In the Tesla technology that was suppressed by Wardenclyffe Tower and wireless transmission of energy, which Tesla proved. And so they prove it on the Tesla files, which that show went away real quick. That now it's you're just a horrible person if you don't have an electric car. Well, yeah, because we sucked all the resources and fucked up the planet from. I don't firmly believe in global warming. I believe in climate change because that's weather. It's always changing. But do I believe that we contributed to that? Perhaps. Did we cause it? No. We couldn't heat up this planet any more than if we tried to cool it off. It just ain't going to happen. But the reason why is we're going to run out of resources one day. And I don't know how close to that day that we are. But these people have made their gazillion, bajillion dollars off of us, shoving it down our throat and suppressing technology that, I mean, hell, we should be flying around in wireless transmission, electric freaking cars, if you want to call them that, like the Jetsons. And how come it took so long to get a flat panel fucking television? I'm waiting for my robot, Rosie, and Astro. Hey, Warge. There's always a reason. But so why is it getting shoved down our throat that we have to drive an electric car? Have to. Don't have a choice. I don't know. There's a reason for it. So, but is it the right thing to do? I think so, but not that way. It should have been done 100 years ago, and it could have been. The internet could have been in operation. They wouldn't have called it that, but it would have been called a network or something. I don't know what the hell they would have called it, but that essentially was what Tesla did. He created wireless transmission through radio frequency of electricity, which would have a big bandwidth to have information in it. And that's pretty much what the internet, at least Wi-Fi or wireless internet, is. Cell phone technology. Same shit. It was invented a long time ago. A long time ago. And it all went bye-bye. Why? I don't even want to get into this. I just have very cautious, suspicious pull back and look thinking, what the fuck is going on? I just want to know what's motivating this big, huge push to electric now. It doesn't make any sense. You know, is it because if everybody has an electric car and you don't have a long ass extension cord, that when the shit hits the fan, you can't go anywhere? Because you're going to get lucky. You'll be lucky if you get 400 miles out of the latest technology of a Tesla car, maybe 500 right now. Where are you going to go? Nowhere. What are you going to do? Plug in for an hour to, I think the hyperchargers are 45 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, if they're even around. What are you going to do? plug in and charge your fucking car so you can get out of here. I don't know. I don't know what the thinking is, but it's very suspicious to me without sounding a little bit too crazy. Electric cars suck. They're not efficient, and you can't fucking go anywhere in them in a long period of time. I live in Florida, and if I had an electric car, I'd be shitting bricks because you're going to be sitting on either 75, 4, or 95 for a very long time. And I can promise you, your battery's going to be dead. Canine from Doctor Who. Okay. Oh my God. Yeah. There you go. There were minorities owning minorities. See, I don't know this stuff. I heard this. There were minorities owning minorities. There were even a couple of POC officers of the Confederacy. Yeah, no. Yeah. In the misconception, see, we all got to do our homework because when the whole Confederate flag thing was going on and we're tearing down statues and South, it's just the Civil War was not all about slavery and races trying to take the shit out of the South. And the South is like, because both sides had slaves. There were slaves. It wasn't a geographical thing. There was probably, I don't know. This is where I need to do my homework because they don't teach you this in school, and nor do they want to. They want you to think what they want you to think. I'm not going to say there was as many slave owners in the North as the South, but I'm going to tell you they were in the North and the South. I do know that. But it's used against us, and the Civil War was over slavery. No. No. It was the Northerners being a bunch of assholes trying to put tariffs and tax and the shit out of the textile industry because they were missing out on income. And they didn't like it. And then the Southerners didn't like that. So they said, go fuck yourself. And we had a war. And then slavery was addressed. And I'm not saying it wasn't a part of the war, but it wasn't the main purpose of the Civil War. And instead of being tribal and all these white people, oh, well, you black people and blah, blah, blah. No, that was not the main reason for the Civil War. When all that shit was going on, I'm like, this doesn't sound right. And I did my homework, and that's exactly what it was. It was the Northerners being assholes, trying to strong arm and get a cut out of the textile industry from the Southerners. And I wouldn't be surprised if somehow, some way, they threw the slavery thing in there too. Because, oh, they got all those black people picking cotton. That's not right. So why don't we just make it about that? I mean, that would not surprise me. I'm not saying they did, but that would not surprise me at all. So let's make it about slavery when it's really about getting our cut. All about the money again. So for the love of God, before you take a side on something, get all sides of whatever that something is. And through all that, try to find the truth. And the cold, hard truth of the Civil War is it was not because of slavery. It was because of money. And I'm down here in the South, and I can tell you, you piss these people off, they're going to tell you to fuck yourself. Where Northerners are a little bit more compliant and complacent, and they won't directly tell you that, but they'll find a way to go around you and fuck you. But Southerners just tell you to go fuck yourself. So I can see how all that happened very easily. So, but the thing is, I'm going to get back to the show. regardless, again, of the situation and everything else and what you believe or you don't believe or who's involved or what side you're on, this is all destroying this country. And I firmly believe the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. I'm deferring to that document, not the assholes that created it. It's not about them. It's about the document, and it's about the Bill of Rights. I mean, at least they got something right. Well, there's a bunch of white people that believed in slavery. Well, yeah, well, they're assholes. I don't have a problem telling them that to their face if I could. It's like, what is wrong with you? It's a human being. But regardless of that, and if you want to use that for an excuse, well, a bunch of racists and slave owners came up with that document. It can't be good. Well, it is good. Sorry. And they were assholes. So anybody can be an asshole. Very easy to do. But I would like to think we've learned by our mistakes. It took till 1964. I have no idea why. It's ridiculous. Unacceptable. But it has changed. That's the point. And you and me and as an individual have the same power or more than our own government. That's the way it is. And any laws that are written that go against the Constitution are unconstitutional. Therefore, they are null and void. Period. 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 Oh, no, we got COVID-19. We got 9/11. Everybody's a terrorist now or potential terrorist. So you got to get everything shoved up your ass before you get on a fucking plane, which is a violation of your Fourth Amendment, in my opinion. And I commit a crime. You don't have to see my shit. Well, you can't fly. No. How about you protect our country a little bit better? Somebody made a big boo-boo on 9/11. Can't do that, though. No, we're going to fix this to keep you safe and fuck with your rights. Oh, okay. So anyway, I want to learn all about that. I want to learn all about it. Because when it comes down to it, that's all you're going to have left. That's all we have left. And it can't be taken from us. And I'm really pissed. Not like pissed, like I'm going to go out and whatever, do something stupid. I never would do that. It's like, oh, he's angry. There's something wrong with him. Read The Shadow Effect, the book, and being as happy as a lark and then being pissed off like a motherfucker is quite actually normal and healthy. It just depends on what you do with those emotions and how long you stay in them. Period. Deepak Chopra, The Shadow Effect. Phenomenal book. Two holes of the same. Light and dark, happiness and anger, whatever. But I'm really pissed that I wasn't educated and informed on the Bill of Rights. Except, of course, like I said, by, what's that fucking thing? Schoolhouse Rock. Saturday morning watching cartoons. And I learned more about the goddamn the Constitution through a cartoon break commercial, the most important document to any American or human being for that matter, but let's just say American in this country, and I don't know a fucking thing about it. That's on me. That's on me now. So I am going, of course, I'll have shows on other things and whatever. I'm just not going to be obsessed with this. But when you're really, after 13 years of thinking and processing and trying to figure things out and the truth and blah, 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 it's come to this. It's come to the Bill of Rights. I mean, that's it. There's really no point in arguing with anybody, regardless of who they are. You cannot violate and infringe upon my rights. And supposedly, if you give consent to doing that, then they can take them away from you. That's ridiculous. I do not consent. And I think that's where there's a lot of tension right now. It's like, well, if you consent to what we're telling you to do, even though it's against your rights, and you comply, therefore you've lost your right. That's a crock of shit right there. That's a crock of shit. No, how about no? So we all need, at least me, I'm going to focus on constitutional rights, constitutional law, and the Bill of Rights. In my thinking process is going to go through that filter or that lens or whatever term you want to use and look through that before I start looking through any other set of glasses, including my own opinion and perspective on what's going on. We all should be saying, regardless of what's going on right now, I don't care what the situation is that constitutional? That should be the first thing that pops into your head. Is this constitutional? Not that's unconstitutional. It should be, is this constitutional? Is this infringing or violating my rights? Period. And if it is, figure out how and why. And if it's not, nope, it's not. Okay, let's go. Let's move on. But if you comply or give permission, and that somehow, some way infringes or releases you of your rights, that's wrong. That's wrong. That should never be the case. Well, you consented to this. Didn't you read the fine print? Talking about how in the fuck can you take my rights away because I give you consent to do something? That's just ridiculous. What kind of law is that? And if it is a law, it's unconstitutional. Shall not be infringed. Look it up. Not that difficult. So I want to get into this. And I think it should be all open for discussion. And of course, this turns into interpretation. But I want to go over it and I want to study them. And I'm going to take a week at a time. And I'm going to do my homework on this everywhere from books and Twitter. I'm not looking for Republican or libertarian perspectives or interpretations of this crap, or a Christian or a Muslim or a Jew or a black person or a white person or fucking whatever. I'm just going to read it for how it is and how I'm interpreting it for me without any type of agenda or tribalism whatsoever, to retain my rights and not be infringed upon. Period. Is this constitutional? Yes or no? I'm not saying play lawyer or give advice or whatever. I'm saying if this pertains to you as an American citizen of the United States, that you have these rights and they should not be infringed upon, and start looking, put those glasses on and start looking at every single problem that we're dealing with, whether it pertains to you or not, and say, is this constitutional? Not because everybody says that's unconstitutional. Well, just ask, is it constitutional? Because it's a whole different way of phrasing it. That's a question as compared to a statement. That's unconstitutional. How many times have I heard that? Too many. I've never heard somebody say, now that I'm thinking about it, is this constitutional? That totally changes the perception of it. Is it? Beats the shit out of me, but I'm going to find out, and that's how I'm going to start looking at things. So, all right, guys. So that's that. I don't know how long I've been on. It's got to be damn near an hour, so I'm going to go. But that's what the following, how many amendments are there? 14? I'm pretty scary. Is there more than that? 15, 16? I don't know how many. I don't know. Is there 20? I don't even know. The 14th Amendment keeps coming up a lot, though. I know there's 14 of them. Sad to say. I wish I knew. But how many there are, that's how many weeks we're going to do this. And then I might pop in during the week, somebody's show, my own show. But I am definitely going to attack an amendment every week. And maybe we'll all learn something. If not, that's fine. But I really do think, at least for me, to look through a set of glasses or a lens saying, is this constitutional, is going to totally change the perspective on all this stuff. Because we all have our inalienable God-given rights, and we don't even know what they are. And we don't even know when they're being surrendered, which is really even more concerning to me. So do your homework. We'll talk about it. I don't really want to bring politics into it. I don't want to bring anything into it other than individual rights that are inalienable for you and me, and discuss them to understand them. And that's it. And like I said, I don't care what color you are. I don't care what you believe in. I don't care how much money you make. Without the Bill of Rights, we are nothing. And we have to start looking at things through those eyes so we get all this shit straightened out. It's a timeless document. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah, and a bunch of dumb, fat, motherfucking white guys that believed in slavery wrote it. And that's wrong. So we have to look past that. And it's been fixed. And it's very shameful and wrong. So that's that. I'm going to go for listening to do. Just want to come out here and talk about this stuff. And I haven't been on for a week or so. And I just think I am obligated to come on here when I want. That's an hour and a half. So I'm going to go. Thanks for listening to me. Say goodnight to everybody. Not that it's nighttime. Say goodbye to everybody in the chat room. Please share the show. It's growing, and I'm impressed with that. And I just want to have a discussion. But I really do think all, if not all the answers, most if not all, lie in the Bill of Rights for us peasants. Because that's what it is right now. It's us peasants. That's how I feel. All right, so share the show. I'll see you next time. I think Scarlett's on tonight, and enjoy her show, and she's great. And there you go. All right, so thanks for listening to me. Have a good night and or good rest of your day. Happy Easter to you. And if that's offensive, I'm sorry. I don't mean it that way, but happy Easter for people that are celebrating that. And have a great weekend. You have been listening to the original Red Pill Show.